One of the tools that's really helpful in navigating B-zone with people is the victim circle and the freedom circle. So over here, we're going to talk about the victim circle. In the victim circle, there's me. And what happens is all of these things in life, they start to push in on me. So those things include just life. They might be your job. It might be relationships. And it might be just circumstances in general. So we kind of have all of these things in our lives that are pushing in on us, and a lot of times we can allow them to shape us. And we start to feel like we're just getting smaller and smaller, and life is just starting to crush us and push us into this little box in which we live. And when people are in the victim circle, they'll start to say, I'm this way because these people did this, or you made me do this. Or when you hear people just blaming other people for their circumstances a lot, I can't help it because this happened. A lot of times what you're dealing with is somebody who's stuck over here in the victim circle. And victims, what they feel is they feel powerless. They feel like all these things are pushing in and I can't do anything about it. And so I'm just kind of like reacting and I'm trying to not let it hit me too much. And all of these circumstances and all the forces that are pushing in, they shape me. And then what happens is everything becomes about me. So when people are stuck in the victim circle, this is the kind of stuff you'll start to see happen. I don't believe that God created us to be victims. In fact, when God created Adam and he put him in the garden, he says, you know what? Take dominion. Rule over this place. And God actually delegated control of the planet to Adam. He says, take dominion. It's a good thing. Even one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. And so we shouldn't be controlled by others. We shouldn't be controlled by our job, by our life circumstances, by relationships. Instead, if we want to walk in freedom, what happens is we start to view ourselves as agents of change in the world. We can see ourselves as powerful people who have the ability to make an impact. So, over here in this circle, there's still me. And we still have some of these same things out here. We have our life, we have our job, or potentially our ministry, things like that. We have our relationships, we have our circumstances, and you can name a whole bunch of other things. Instead of those things shaping us and controlling us and things like that, what happens is we start to say, you know what? I have the ability to make an impact. And so our arrows start to go outward. And when people start to understand this about themselves, like I said, there's this picture of a victim where they're almost like hunching over and their will is bent, and it's like you almost see like, they look down at the ground a lot. When people start to walk over here in freedom and understand that I am a powerful person, God created me to be an agent of change and to make an impact in my life, they stand up a little bit straighter. They look you in the eye a lot more often. And they start saying, you know what? This is me. I have all this stuff that the Lord has given to me. I have these things in my life. I have my job. I have relationship circumstances. What's it look like for me to make an impact there? How do I make choices that are going to exert myself and the things the Lord has given to me on the world, instead of viewing everything as shaping me? So in the context of the world race, here's some things that could happen. You could be over here, if you're over here in the victim circle, you might start to say things like, nobody on my team likes me, and how come nobody does this, and how come people don't reach out to me, and I just feel left out, and things like that. And all of a sudden, your life is becoming about you and other people's impact on you. You could take the exact same set of circumstances. You could be on a team, you could actually be feeling left out. You could be feeling like, hey, I don't connect very well here, and people aren't doing a lot of reaching out to me. But you know what? Because I am somebody who has the ability to make an impact, I'm going to push myself out there and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take that person on my team out for coffee. And not just say, I'm going to take them out, I'm going to pay for them, I'm going to pursue those people and not sit and wait for them to pursue me. Because you know what? I shape my life. I'm in charge of my life. God has delegated control of my life to me, and I get to choose what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to step out. I'm going to shape and impact the people around me instead of waiting for them to reach out to me and pull me into their circle. These circumstances, all this stuff, I am going to say, hey, you know what? This is a rough month. We don't have a lot of ministry. Our ministry house isn't giving us a lot of things to do. And so we're just going to have to sit around and waste our time. Or you could say, hey, you know what? We have all this time and I have all these gifts. And so I'm going to go out and shape this community that I'm in. I get to make choices about what my life is going to look like. That's what free people do. Victims don't do that. And so as you yourself are navigating the B zone and things are getting hard, be very aware, am I thinking like a victim or am I thinking like a free person or like a powerful person? And as you lead others, you can start to ask them some of those same questions. And one of the beautiful things about us understanding something like this is we can have very frank conversations with each other about, hey, Bill, what circle are you living in right now? I had this happen recently with a guy that I'm discipling. He came in, he was talking to me, and he's like, well, this person did this, and they did this, and I'm just really upset and all of this. And I just said, hey, you kind of sound like a victim right now. And he just stops, and he looks at me, and he goes, yeah, you're right. And he literally just like, he almost stood up, and he turned, and he walked out of my office, and I knew what he was doing. He was going to go and actually start to take some dominion in his life and make some choices about what he was going to do and what he wanted things to look like. And that's the same thing that we can do for each other and that we're going to ask our leaders to do for you, and we're going to ask you to do for yourselves and for your teammates. So make a choice. Do you want to be a victim or do you want to be free?